Rain, Rain, Chapter 22. What must have happened? I lie, homonym L-Y-E, awake in, homonym I-N-N. My bed for, homonyms F-O-R-E, F-O-U-R. A long time, homonym T-H-Y-M-E. I can't fall asleep. Even though my room is chilly, I crack the window open. I listen to the rustling water. I imagine tiny trickles of water on hilltops, dripping down to join brooks and streams, gathering force and speed, and meeting, homonym M-E-T-I-N-G, with rivers. Then I imagine all those trickles and brooks and streams and rivers swollen with the 15 inches of rain that fell during Hurricane Susan. That's how much rain we got in 12 hours. 15 inches, more than a foot. My father heard it on the battery-operated radio. I try to picture what our driveway looked like as the bridge suddenly loosened, how the boards must have cracked and shifted before starting to break away and float off down HUD. I remember what my father said about the force of water moving and what John 47 said about the houses washing away. Finally, I think I know what happened to rain. This is my idea. After my father let rain out into the storm, she walked across our yard in the dim light. She's very smart, and she has a very smart nose. But she didn't know enough to stay away from the water at the bottom of our yard. It was new to her. Rain is curious, and maybe she leaned over to see what her nose could tell her about the rushing water. Maybe she saw something floating in it and stepped to take a closer look. Or maybe she just wanted a drink. Whatever happened, Rain got too close and the water swept her away. She's a good swimmer, but she might have been swept far downstream before she managed to climb out. When she finally reached a place where she could get out of the water, she sniffed and sniffed, but nothing smelled familiar to her. She couldn't find my trail because she was too far from me. There was a wind, there was flood water, and there were unfamiliar smells. Rain got confused. She got turned around. She didn't know which way to go, and she started walking in the wrong direction. In conclusion, I think Rain was washed a very long distance from our house, and because of that, it will take her a very long time to find her way back to me. Where are you, Rain? My heart starts to pound. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Part 3, Chapter 23. Why my father gets mad at me. The next day, which is Monday, is sunny with a blue sky, and at 8 a.m. the moderate prime number temperature of 59 degrees. When I stand on our porch with my back to the yard, I would not think that there had been a superstorm just 60 hours before. But when I turn around, I see the fallen trees and our soggy lawn and the stream that runs straight down HUD with no bridge over it at the bottom of our drive. I remember that my father and I are still stranded. Also, Rain is still missing. Also, the power is still out, and so is our phone. The refrigerator has warmed up, and last night my father threw everything out that was in it and everything that was in the freezer. We have no ice left and only a few more bucketfuls of water for flushing the toilet. What do we do when we can't flush the toilet anymore? I ask. My father is sitting in the kitchen eating breakfast of tuna, which he scoops straight out of the can, an apple, and a bottle of ginger ale. He doesn't mind warm soda. We go into the woods, he replies. I study his face. I look for humor clues, such as a smile. But I don't think he's being funny, so I say, how do we go into the woods? What kind of question is that? You just stand behind a tree and pee. I don't want to pee in the woods. It doesn't seem sanitary. What are our other options? What do you mean? What else could we do besides pee behind a tree? I don't know. Pee in a bucket? That sounds a little better. Could I put the bucket in the bathroom? My father shrugs. Knock yourself out. What? Now my father sighs, which is probably an indication of annoyance. It means do whatever you want, okay? If it makes you happy to pee in a bucket in the bathroom, then pee in a bucket in the bathroom. But you'll have to clean the bucket out. I'm not doing it for you. I pour cereal into the bowl, sit down across from my father, and eat dry cereal. What are we going to do today? I want to know. Keep sawing up trees. I wish we could visit Uncle Weldon. My father gestures out the window. Has a bridge magically appeared at the bottom of our driveway? I turn and look. No. Then we can't visit Weldon. Period. End of discussion. After breakfast, my father refills the gas tank and the chainsaw. He gets back to work buzzing through the trees of the trunks of the fallen trees. I am not allowed within 10 feet, homonym, F-E-A-T, of the chainsaw, which is good because it makes a very loud noise. My job is to stack the smaller logs on the wood pile. When I can't stand the noise, I take a break, put my hands over my ears, and wander around our yard. I stand by the road and look at the water, which isn't gushing so fast anymore. I wonder how far Rain could have been carried by the water on Saturday. I wonder how far she might have walked in the wrong direction after she got out of the water. I wait until I hear the chainsaw stop for a moment, and then I call to my father. Why didn't you wake me up when you let Rain outside during the storm? For Pete's sake, Rose, haven't we been over that already? But why didn't you? I will answer that question one more time, and then I don't want to hear about it again. I didn't wake you up because Rain has been outside plenty of times by herself, and she always comes back. I didn't think it was necessary. Besides, the storm was almost over. Why didn't you put her collar on before she went out? Rose, enough! But this is a new question. This is the first time I've asked you about the collar. My father pulls the cord on the chainsaw. Nothing happens. She isn't wearing her collar, so she doesn't have any identification, I tell him. I understand that, he says. So why did you leave the collar on the door? My father turns away from me, shaking his head. He stomps his foot on the ground. Then he pulls the cord violently. The chainsaw lets out a roar that might have been as loud as a jet plane, and I cover my ears. With my hands still over my ears, I walk in a circle around my father, keeping 10 feet between us until I'm facing him. Why didn't you put her collar on? I yell. My father's face is hard. He turns off the chainsaw and drops it to the ground. He walks towards me very slowly, and something inside me says to run. So I do. I run into the house and slam the door behind me. When I look out the window, my father is walking back to the chainsaw. I wait until I hear its roar, and then I go to my room and lie on my bed. Sometimes when I'm upset, Rain finds me and lies down beside me. She rests her head on my shoulder and looks into my eyes, and I can feel her breath on my cheek. But Rain isn't here now because my father didn't put her collar on when he let her outside during the superstorm.